Most Vancouver buyers honestly believe that a $1.8 million detached home is completely out of reach for them in the city. And based on the headline math that they see online where you're looking at an $8,500 a month carrying cost on a $1.4 million mortgage, they are not wrong. That number is impossible for almost any single income household in this city. But there is a Vancouver detached play that almost nobody is talking about right now. And when you buy that same $1.8 million property and drop your effective carrying costs from $8,500 a month down to roughly $3,800 a month, which is the equivalent of carrying a $1 million mortgage instead of a $1.44 million mortgage. And the reason most buyers do not know about this is that most realtors do not volunteer it, and most bank advisors do not know which lenders in the country will actually underwrite the math properly. Make sure you stick around until the end of this video because I'm going to walk you through the exact math on a real Vancouver duplex, the lender qualifying angle that most bank side advisors miss, the 4 neighborhoods to focus on, and the 5 things to look for in that specific property. And the link to my free buy versus rent calculator that runs the entire math for you in about 2 minutes, you can find that in the description below. The wrong way to buy detached in Vancouver in 2026 is to stretch your qualifying ratios to their absolute maximum. Write the biggest offer you can possibly write and bet on appreciation to bail you out over the next 5 years. That play worked from 2010 through 2022 and it has not worked since then, which is why the buyers who stretched into peak price detached in 2022 are the same buyers who are now driving forced sales in the city through 2026 and moving into 2027. The right way to buy detached in Vancouver in 2026 is to buy a property where the rental income from a legal secondary suite or a laneway house, or even both, covers somewhere between 40 and 60% of your gross carrying costs on day one, which transforms the property from a stretched lifestyle purchase into a structurally affordable one. The bank actually wants to lend on it. And honestly, the difference between those two approaches is the difference between owning a Vancouver detached for the next 30 years and being forced to sell into a soft market in year 3. Now, here's the lender qualifying angle that most Vancouver buyers do not understand and that most bank side mortgage advisors will not voluntarily walk you through. When you are buying a Vancouver detached that has a legal secondary suite or a laneway house, the rental income from those units can be credited toward your mortgage qualifying calculation. That part is widely known. What is not widely known is how much of that rental income different Canadian lenders will actually count when they underwrite your application. The conservative default at most big banks has historically been to credit only 50% of the projected rental income from a legal basement suite or a laneway house. That means a $4,700 a month rental income stream was treated as $2,350 a month by that lender, which obviously hurts your overall qualifying capacity. Some lenders in Canada, including specific monoline lenders and credit units, will credit significantly higher rental income recognition ratios. In some cases up to 80% for legal, separately metered, separately addressed secondary suites and laneway houses, which means that same $4,700 a month income stream is now being credited at roughly $3,760 a month instead of $2,350. And that's a $1,400 a month increase in qualifying income on that exact same property. The catch is that most buyers will never see those lenders because the buyer who walks into their bank branch and applies through their personal banking advisor is getting the bank's internal qualifying rules, not the more aggressive rental income recognition that exists at certain monoline lenders in the broker channel. So the entire qualifying game on a Vancouver mortgage helper property comes down to who you work with on the lender side. You need that broker before you write the offer, not after, and you need them to pre-qualify you on that specific property, including the projected rental income from the suite and the laneway. If you walk into a bank branch and try to qualify on the standard 50% treatment, you will be quoted a much smaller mortgage envelope than you actually deserve, and you will walk away from a Vancouver detached you could have actually afforded. So let me walk you through the actual math on how this would work. The numbers I'm about to show you are based on a $1.8 million detached home with 3 bedrooms upstairs, a legal 1-bedroom basement suite, and a detached laneway house in the back alley, which is a property type that is becoming more and more frequent in the east side of Vancouver with the declining market. You put 20% down on that property, which is $360,000 in cash equity. You carry a $1.44 million mortgage at 4.89%, and that's being very conservative on a 30-year amortization, and your pure mortgage payment comes out to about $7,590 a month, plus property tax and insurance of roughly $900 a month combined, which gives you a gross carrying cost of approximately $8,490 a month on paper. Now plug in the income side. The legal basement suite in East Vancouver rents in the current market between $2,000 and $2,500 a month if you have a 2-bedroom, and the laneway house rents between $2,500 and $3,000 a month. So using $2,200 for the basement and $2,500 on the laneway, you have $4,700 a month of rental income coming into the property on day one. Your effective net carrying cost on that principal residence drops from $8,490 a month to roughly $3,790 a month, which is the carrying cost of a $1 million mortgage, not a $1.44 million mortgage. And that is the exact play that has closed multiple Vancouver detached properties for my clients over the last 12 months. Now ask yourself the question that nobody else is asking, which is who can actually afford a $3,800 a month housing payment in Vancouver right now? And the answer is honestly roughly the entire upper half of the white-collared workforce in the city, including doctors, lawyers, engineers, accountants, senior tech workers, partners at consulting firms, and 2-income households earning a combined income of $180,000 or more, which is a very large pool of qualified Vancouver buyers compared to the much smaller pool of buyers who can carry an $8,500 a month payment out of a single income. So the secondary suite cheat code is honestly not just about the property being more affordable for you specifically, it is about your future resale buyer pool being 4 to 5 times larger when you eventually go to sell. For those of you wondering where to actually look for this kind of property, the 4 neighborhoods I would focus on are all on Vancouver's east side. You have Fraser, Hastings Sunrise, Renfrew, and Collingwood. Obviously, there's going to be some deviations on price point depending on the size of the lot, depending on how new the home is, the size and the age of the laneway house as well. But this is just to give you a general overview of how this type of hack can work in terms of using income on multiple income streams to lower your housing cost. Heading further east, you can get more bang for your buck, and you can look at East Burnaby, in Edmonds and Highgate, and New Westminster in Sapperton and Queen's Park as well. The housing stock in these 4 areas is mature enough to either already have a legal secondary suite in place or to be retrofittable into a legal suite with a reasonable budget. And the lot sizes are right around that 33 by 122 foot configuration that allows for a laneway house under the City of Vancouver's R11 framework, or the equivalent zoning in Burnaby and New West. The streets that work best are the ones where the rental comp is strong and consistent, meaning streets with good walkability, good transit access, and good street level safety, because your future tenant pool is going to drive the rental income that drives the entire math. So the 5 things to look for when you are touring a property for this specific play are pretty straightforward, and you make sure you check out every one of them before you write the offer. First, the secondary suite must be legal and permitted with the City of Vancouver or the relevant municipality, because the unpermitted suite does not get the rental income recognition from the lender at all, and you have just the entire qualifying advantage. Second, the property must have laneway potential under the current zoning, even if the laneway is not built yet, because the laneway is the second leg of the rental income stool. You want that option preserved. Third, the suite needs to be separately metered for hydro and ideally for gas, because separately metered units get credited differently by the lender, and because the tenant pays their own utilities, which keeps your operating costs more predictable. Fourth, you absolutely need to be working with a mortgage broker who knows which lenders apply higher rental income recognition ratios and who has those lender relationships in place, because most bank employed mortgage advisors are defaulting to the standard 50% rule and will quote you a smaller qualifying envelope that you actually deserve. And fifth, walking distance to transit, because the renter pool for your suite is going to be majority transit dependent, and the rent you can charge is directly correlated to how easy it is for the tenant to get to work without their car. The mirror image of those 5 features is a list of traps to avoid, and there are honestly 4 of them that I see buyers walk into all the time. Trap 1 is that the suite that looks legal but does not actually have City of Vancouver approval, which means it is technically an unpermitted suite and the lender will not credit that rental income whatsoever. This trap is everywhere in East Vancouver, where homeowners self-converted basements from the 1990s and 2000s and even to today without pulling the proper permits. Trap 2 is that the basement suite is in a flood prone or seepage prone basement, because tenants will leave the first time the carpet gets wet, your rental income streams is unreliable, and your repair costs can eat your cash flow. Trap 3 is the suite without a separate entrance, because municipal bylaws in most lower mainland cities require a separate entrance for a legal secondary suite, and a shared entrance through the main living area is going to fail the legal suite test no matter how nicely the basement is finished. The Vancouver detached market in 2026 is very, very unusual. It's something that we have not seen in a very long time, and most of us haven't seen at all. And because because the structural supply collapse is real, single-family permits across the country are at a 44-year low per CMHC. Single-family completions hit a 30-year low in the first quarter of this year, and the price reductions across the broader Vancouver detached market are very, very real, which means right now is honestly one of the best windows I have seen in the last decade for a buyer who knows how to find a mortgage helper property and run the math on it. I built a free buy versus rent calculator on my digital hub that runs the entire math automatically. You can find it in the description below. You just plug in the property price, the suite rent, the laneway rent, and your down payment, and it tells you within just a couple seconds whether the property's effective carrying cost actually beats your current rent in your specific scenario, which is the only number that matters for this decision. And if you want me to run the analysis manually on a specific property, make sure that you book a call with me in the description below, and I'll see you in the next one.